So Amelia Seymour, here in the front, is a egg donor who is motivated by the desire to help others complete their families. Originally from Queensland, she's completed 3 interstate egg donor cycles in 2013 before moving to Sydney. Amelia is studying whilst working as a nanny, and together with her fiance is currently involved in a traditional surrogacy arrangement. Karen Bowie is a loving mother of 4 gorgeous children aged 13, 11, 5 and 4. She's donated her eggs through a Brisbane clinic 4 times, resulting in 2 children, with embryos currently on ice. And as a surrogate mother to Bridie, who was born in 2010. Karen is currently living an expat life in Papua New Guinea and has kindly contacted the country to attend today's conference. Alright, so this is just a panel discussion, so I'm just going to ask Amelia and Karen questions throughout the presentation, and hopefully at the end we'll have some time for some questions and answers. Okay, so I'll start with Amelia. So you're relatively young, just a spring chicken, without any children of your own. What motivated you to donate your eggs?
Well, I guess for me it came a lot from growing up with the family that I did. We sort of had this big policy of karma, and it didn't matter what you did, you just had to put something good out into the universe. And egg donation was actually quite a surprise. It was actually quite a surprise for me. I'd actually been a blood and plasma donor for 2 years, and did that quite frequently on a fortnightly basis. I walked in December 2012 and was told, sorry, you don't have any veins left, you can't donate anymore. And here's me in this complete meltdown. I swear I was born out like that. Complete meltdown, and the donor nurse picks up and looks at me and goes, well, since you've got such a fear of needles, you should be an egg donor. I met my first IPs about 6 weeks later.
Excellent. So all your donations have been known donations. Can you briefly talk us through the process of where you found your IPs and how you selected them?
Look, all my IPs were found on online forums. It was very important to my extended family that our donations were known, that the genetic leaks were able to be traced, and that was something that, whilst not hugely important to me, it was very important to my parents and my extended family. For me, I was really just looking for someone I could relate to. My first IPs were in a situation where they were just socially infertile. Poor intended mum had just got to the stage where she didn't meet her partner until she was in her late 40s. And at the time, I was not with my lovely fiance, and I could see me being in that situation. I could see me being this career-focused individual who just was not going to get there. And very fortunate circumstances changed, but again, I was looking for that relation. I was looking for the fact that I could have a conversation with you on the street that didn't involve egg donation. And that was the most important aspect for me. It wasn't whatever other story you had going on in the background.
So you found your recipients online. How did you find the online process? It must have been foreign for you, especially since you had no children. So,
look, the online process was fantastic for me in that I'm a Gen Y. It was so much better. It was great. Everything could be sent at 3 a.m. when you finished whatever university study you were doing, or you were just procrastinating that latest assignment. So I really liked the online process because I'm quite an introverted person on the phone and in real life. So yeah, it was really good in that regard, and it allowed me to have a life outside of egg donation, which was really nice in the long term.
So obviously, as you said, you met your recipients. What forum did you meet your recipients on?
The first one came from Egg Donor Angels. The second one was a combination of Egg Donation Australia and Egg Donor Angels. And the third ones were actually word of mouth.
Okay, so you found them on various sites, and you've said why you were attracted to them, but obviously there's a lot of people looking for egg donors. Why didn't you choose them over the couple that you actually chose?
Look, there wasn't necessarily, I suppose, we always say the biggest thing is don't make it a negative story. That was probably one of my biggest points. We understand that obviously getting to the stage of meeting an egg donor, you haven't been through the most positive, right? We get that. But I don't want to sit there and have to hear about how this is the end of the world. I'm trying to give you something good. I'm trying to promote this whole gift of hope and everything. and you're sitting here telling me that your world is ending because you need an egg donor. It doesn't make me feel real good. And that was probably the number one initial ag thing. I wanted to see that it was a positive step forward in your life.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So you've got your fiance. So he's obviously very understanding. You don't have children, but you've donated your eggs, and now you're going to be a surrogate. How does he feel about all of this?
Look, he's fantastic. We actually got engaged. I was hospitalised after my first egg donation, and we got engaged that night. And he made me swear at that point that you shouldn't do any more egg donations.
Amazing how he's got husbands around.
A few cycles later, and he really shares the bond that we have, particularly with our surrogacy IPs. We get to be really involved in their lives, and he gets to be part of the warm and fuzzies. And we're really lucky in that regard that we've got such great relationships with the people that we've donated to.
And obviously involved in the hard times too when you're hospitalised.
Yes.
And you felt compelled to propose. Alright, so just moving on quickly to Karen. So your process is quite different to Amelia's in that you're what we're going to call a registered donor, in that you're currently unknown to your recipients, but you are contactable in the future once the child turns 18. So what in particular made you choose that path over a known donation?
Basically, my first egg donation was done in 2004, so it was in the olden days, before online forums and social media. So there was no access to knowing anyone. If you didn't know anyone, that was it, you just didn't know anyone. I basically saw an ad in the local paper, and it was advertising. The advertising came from an IVF clinic that was on behalf of two people a couple that needed an egg donor, and I basically contacted the IVF clinic. I initially was actually contacting them to see whether I could actually be a surrogate through an IVF clinic. They then said to me, obviously back in 2004 it was actually still illegal in Queensland, and so for me it was egg donation. So it was egg donation or nothing.
Yep. So you approached the clinic.
Yep.
You said I wanted to be an egg donor. What happened from there?
Basically, it's quite a simple process. It's they basically waited for me to contact them. I made the initial contact. They said this is the information. We sent information out in the mail and brochures, and I filled out paperwork and sent it back in the mail, and they then waited for me to contact them. They obviously wanted to get away from any sort of pressure environment. And then it was just one counselling session. We did the paperwork, one counselling session with the clinic counsellor, and Scott and I, my husband and I was registered. And so then you get a doctor from there.
Okay, so obviously it's a few years later. What information has the clinic given you about your donation?
Once the donations are done, you obviously get told how many eggs were produced, how many embryos were results, day 3, day 5. Then you get told if it's a positive pregnancy and the sex of the resultant bub. And then in my case, there are embryos still in storage, so I'll get told basically the sex of the resultant bubs when the time comes.
And have you had any contact from the intended parent?
With the second bub that was born, I actually got an anonymous letter from the mum and the grandmother of the resultant bub, and in the letter they were just expressing how happy they were, what they'd been through, and in particular it was nice actually getting a letter from the grandmother to see the perspective from the side of watching a child go through what she had to watch.
And also for you, seeing it with all of that,
and it sort of personalise it for me. Too.
Yeah, okay. So how do you think you will feel in, say, 14 years' time if you get a letter from a resulting egg donation?
We wouldn't have a problem. I think because we went into it simply because of life circumstances made us go, or the option was there for registered donor, we would have no problem with receiving a letter in contact. We didn't go down the registered donor because we didn't feel that we wanted that contact. It was just the circumstances in life, and also we always do believe that a child needs to know their background and their history and anything to do with their hurt.
So if they then wanted further contact, you would be very open to that?
Yeah.
Great.
They have to be nice.
If they're not nice, then no. Okay, so just a question for both of you. So we all know the process of being an egg donor is not straightforward. It's not just like a sperm donation where it's here's the room, there's the cup. So there's various tests that need to be done, scans, injecting medication, egg pickup, not to mention all the counselling, doctor's appointments and waiting periods. How did you both find this process?
Well, my process was quite simple. Simply, you don't have the build-up as a known donor. You literally turn up at the clinic, you have a counselling session, fill out your paperwork, and then you see the doctor. Obviously, the medical process is exactly the same. But I was quite lucky. I did 4 donations and didn't have any reactions to the medication. But I would say that no one would go into egg donation if they had a little bit of an issue with needles or hospitals or processes.
So Amelia, you ended up in hospital. How did you find that process?
Look, to sort of start off from the first question, I was really fortunate with the first 2 donations that I did, that they were interstate and the clinics really got on board. Everything was done over the phone. I didn't have to travel. At the time, we were in the middle of central Queensland and about 3 hours from town, so blood test wasn't just a let's drop in for 10 minutes type thing, and they really got on board there. I unfortunately didn't have the same process with my 3rd donation, but I think that was more that it was South Australia and there are restrictions that come with it, and the legals that come from that side of things. Unfortunately, I have a tendency to overstimulate, so we get quite high numbers of eggs on very low doses of medication. Wonderful. Having polycystic ovary is really nice. But yes, in my first donation, I got quite sick. Was hospitalised for some pain relief and basically just waited it out and scared the Jesus out of my fiance. Had to tell my whole bridal party that, oh, look at that, I'm an egg donor, because I passed out. Really, really nice experience. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't change anything. And, I wish at the time I'd talked more to the specialist about how we could change things for me and how we could adapt it to me, as opposed to being, this is the protocol, I am the be-all end-all medical god and I say you should do this. And I wish, going particularly into the cycles for the surrogacy, I've been a lot more of my own advocate. And I think that was something I really failed on in the beginning cycles. Much as the clinic did everything they were supposed to, it just came down to the fact that I didn't ask the questions. And that's something that, to anyone else going in there, ask the questions.
Okay, so given that this is such an involved process and obviously risky for some, I don't think it's a silly question if someone was to ask you why you would donate and then why you would donate again.
I actually think people who possibly do question being an egg donor, they see it as a hassle. There's a hassle element to the appointments, to the counselling, to the medication. But people who genuinely want to be egg donors, and that also goes for surrogates, people who genuinely want to do this don't have that hassle element. They genuinely want to do anything that's involved. They'll do what it takes.
And to me, I guess it's just a risk versus reward. At the end of the day, what sort of warm and fuzzies can you get anywhere else?
That's true. So interestingly enough, you've both transitioned from egg donor into surrogates. What was it that made you, obviously Karen, you originally wanted to be a surrogate?
Mine I think, my transition from egg donor to surrogate was predetermined.
It was actually surrogate to egg donor to surrogate?
Yeah, it was the law that I was waiting for. So mine was...
So what made you decide to be a surrogate, especially with no children?
Well, it was all sort of intertwined in the beginning, and I had basically been told you can't be a surrogate without having had children. End of story, we're not discussing this, it's off the table. And that sort of turned into the push from going back to consider it last year really came from the fact that on paper I looked good. I was a 22-year-old donor, everything's, smoke the boxes, we got good embryos, everything was good. We ticked every box on a piece of paper, and we went through 2 cycles and got nothing. And I sat there at the end of it and went, you know what, as much as I'm a scientist, studying science, as much as I love medical science, it's so much easier just to do it naturally. And that was really where the push came from. And the fact that I would go down the role of, I don't have to do another cycle, I don't have to do more IVF drugs, and I can still get this feeling at the end of it. And that was really where the push came from.
Alright, does anybody have any questions? Just Steve.
Can I ask what Karen has told her children?
Yep. Karen, what have you told your children about your donation?
My children know it all. It's always, it's never been, there's never been a drama attached to it. There's never been anything. It's never been anything out of the normal that we've always had. For my family, infertility has always been there. It's normal.
It's discussed often in the household.
Yeah, it's not a big thing. It's discussed. They know all the details. They know what mum's done, but it's very much just our thing.
And I think Kate runs the Time to Tell sessions, and she would say, you just talk about it all the time, and eventually it just all falls into place for them. And I think that's very much what you're doing.
Yeah.
So when you actually hear that, we've donated this one to this one, and there's a resultant boy,
Yeah.
are the kids straight there and know?
So are the kids notified when a baby's born in your family?
Oh yes, definitely.
Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, thank you so much, Amelia and Karen. Appreciate it.